Not? Yes.
Inglesby,
She answered here. She's virtual.
Jones,
Here.
Here.
Mitchell, Rizzo,
Present.
Ellison,
Present.
Flores Kale,
Here.
Bradshaw,
Here.
Parsley,
Here.
Tobias.
Here. All right, everybody's here. I'll take a motion to approve the minutes from TIRZ meeting as of April 29th, 2021.
Second.
Right,
Okay, I thought you had a motion, I'm sorry.
that's fine. All right, go ahead and call roll. On the vote. We're good? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Let's move on to do we have any public comments? Seeing nobody signed up, we'll move on to consider possible action. Y'all see the motion above you, in front of you. Any comments? Any down here? All right. Stephanie, we'll go ahead and let you make a presentation.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me here tonight. My name is Stephanie Leiby, attorney with Norton Rose Fulbright. Our firm serves as bond counsel to the city. Before you today, you have a resolution that would approve reimbursement of the city to the city of certain projects which will be TIRZ funded. The board has previously considered a resolution that authorized transportation projects in the amount of $5 million. The resolution before you tonight would increase that amount to $8 million. So if this resolution is approved, we'll take this resolution to City Council for their acceptance, and then if they accept, we would move forward with the issuance of certificates of obligations. Those COs would be issued by the city and then reimbursed from TIRZ revenues. Happy to answer any questions if anyone has any.
All right, do we have any questions? Yes.
Thank you. Is this item number 22 on the council agenda? I just want to confirm that was that $8 or $9 million?
It's $8 million.
Okay, and is this for roads that the
This is
developer has agreed to pay for already?
This is roads related to the infrastructure agreement that was briefed at the last city council meeting.
Okay, and so to repeat that, were these roads that were already agreed to be paid for by the developer?
I can answer that question. Paige Signs, city attorney for the record. The developer is not paying for the roads. What's proposed under the infrastructure agreement is that the city consider issuing certificates of obligation to pay for the roads and transportation improvements, which are public improvements. And then the developer is conveying certain property interests to the city, as well as forgiving a credit of impact fees that are in the amount of approximately, I think, $1.9 million in impact fee credits. And there are additional property conveyances that are contemplated under that agreement that are in addition to some of the property conveyance obligations the developer already has to the city under existing agreements.
Okay, so is my statement incorrect? My previous statement of when I asked you, had the developer already agreed to pay for these roads, is that incorrect?
The question that you asked right now is the developer is not paying for the roads. Are you talking about would the developer have to install the roads?
No, it was my previous understanding that the reason why these roads are being put on a CO bond is because they're not creating the roads fast enough, but the developer had agreed to already pay for these roads. Is that incorrect?
That's not my understanding.
Okay, and so this is going to add to the TIRZ 2? Because the TIRZ 2 is going to pay us back, is that correct?
Correct.
City?
The proposal is that the city issue certificates of obligation, and then the developer pay the debt service on those certificates of obligation.
The TIRZ 2.
Correct, yeah, so
I'm sorry.
they will pay the city, and then the city will pay the bonds.
You're saying the
Yes.
TIRZ
The
will pay back?
TIRZ will pay the city.
So will the TIRZ pay back the already at least, $7 million that they currently owe prior to the bonds, or will the bonds come first?
I'll have to defer to some of the financing on the priority of payments. The people in charge of the financing on, I don't know that information.
Okay, is there any way we can figure out who knows that information?
That's in a future budget, So if the TIRZ creates a budget to repay the general fund, then this board right here would make that approval.
Okay, is it possible for me to speak to the city's finance director? If that's a problem, you can say no.
Board Chair and members of the TIRZ Number 2 Board. I'm Pervez Moeed, for the record, City's Director of Finance. The question you have raised is really two separate things. The item before you is for the TIRZ Board increasing the amount of the COs that would be issued on behalf of the TIRZ by the city to pay for infrastructure improvements. So that's $8 million. So the board is authorizing increasing that amount. That was 5, now it's going to be 8. So that's one item. I think what you're referring to is the $16 million that the general fund has loaned to TIRZ Number 2 for La Verde Park, Cultural Trail, and Heroes Memorial. That $16 million will be paid over time from TIRZ revenue, increment tax revenue, to the general fund. And that's included in the budget for the TIRZ Number 2. Next year's budget, we are proposing $250,000 to be repaid back to the general fund. I think that was your question, if I'm not.
You are absolutely correct. So what I did is I printed off the annual report for the TIRZ, and I did not have the numbers right offhand for the current year, but I knew together the number was 16 million. So my question then goes to, is that 16 million paid at the same time as the bond, or is that, what happens if it expires prior to paying the city back, I guess is my ultimate concern.
The TIRZ bonds, when issued, will be paid principal and interest twice a year. That will come strictly from the TIRZ revenues. The repayment schedule to the general fund, as long as TIRZ is in existence, will continue until the amount is fully paid.
So let me ask this way. If this is a 20-year, and I don't know what it is for sure, 20 or 30-year TIRZ, in 21 years, if it has not paid the city back money that it is owed, will the city see that money at all?
The city will receive a huge increase in the amount of cash flows. You
I'm
don't want me to
sorry.
answer?
No, I would
Okay. No, that's
really
fine.
prefer, thank you, I appreciate it.
So at the time that TIRZ is terminated or expires, the city will be entitled to receive 100% of the property tax revenue from that prior TIRZ boundary. So the city would be entitled to receive 100% of the money that was initially going to the TIRZ fund. So the repayment will be, in another way to look at it, it'll be much faster because now you're entitled to 100% of the revenue.
Instead of just a portion of that tax.
So
What
yeah,
happens to- go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, my concern is right now, they owe 16 from the TIRZ, and then we're doing another 3. Does that also include the 5 or no? So we have 16, which is from the general fund. We have 3 that we're doing now, is in the 5?
I'm not sure I understand the 3.
Oh, well, we're going from 5 to 8, right? You're asking for the CO bonds at 5, and now you're asking for it to go to 8.
Right?
Okay, so is it 16 plus 5 plus 8?
No. 16 will be owed to the general fund. The 8 million will be the debt of the TIRZ. It's not general fund's debt.
Right,
It will
okay.
be owed by TIRZ and paid by with TIRZ revenue.
But all that money will be money that's owed to the city.
Only 16 million.
Okay, and that's just assuming that it doesn't accumulate any more money, any more debt?
That's assuming that the project costs do not increase from
Okay,
where we are.
That'd be it, thank you.
You're welcome.
Does that answer all of them?
I think so.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
All right, I've got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Got one, all right. Do we need to go into exec? All right, then I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Got a second? We're adjourned.